Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Teach Different podcast. Great to have you here again with us. Our listenership is growing exponentially. This is 5.5 years we have done this podcast. I can't believe it when I think about how many quotes we've been through. We have to be through at least 200, I think, at this point. So cool. Today we have Ida Tarbell, a muckraker from the 19th and earliest 20th century, and a very interesting quote on imagination that we're gonna take a look at. Before we do, though, just for the method itself, we're getting such great feedback from the method and the different projects that we're doing. We have a couple projects going on in the state of Illinois, where we're teaching teachers in our certification program on the conversation method over a 6 to 8 week period. And we're getting such good feedback on how it's actually landing in the classroom. And by the way, we have elementary school teachers, middle school teachers, and high school teachers using this in our certification programs, in addition to community members. And I mean, Steve, we're going to be working with parents soon, right? That's going to be one of our focuses. I don't know if you wanted to say anything about that.
Yeah, we're going to pilot a kind of a parent slash homeschooling curriculum. And I'm really excited about it because I just think that parents are in such a good position to benefit from a method like this. If they're looking for ways to get, more authentic and better, truthful interactions with their kid, depending on how old the kid is, that becomes very challenging, at different points. So the method's going to help with that. And we're going to, test it out and then come up with kind of a product for homeschool curriculum that we're excited about.
And I see that we have a guest today, Remy the cat.
Yeah,
If
he'll
you're
be here
seeing
for.
if you're listening to this, if you're seeing a video clip of this, you'll see Remy resting unapologetically on Steve's upper chest. So he's going to be maybe participating in this one.
He's been doing it since he's been 5 weeks old.
Okay, Ida Tarbell. Well, again, the method real quick, right? Quote, claim, counterclaim, and question. That's the heart and soul of it, right? We agree with the author, we disagree with the author, we tell stories and we ask questions, and through that we connect with one another. This is so good for our well-being, and it's also academically rigorous. It's got a little bit of everything. It's philosophy in a box, is what Steve and I sometimes say, to sum it all up. Ida Tarbell. I'll read it twice. Here we go. Imagination is the only key to the future. With it, all things are possible. Imagination is the only key to the future. With it, all things are possible. And this was said in her 1904 text, The History of the Standard Oil Company, in a modern version. This was the quote that was put in. Well, what do you think?
Imagination, all things are possible. It's a nice sentiment. The claim is that you have to dream something into existence. And as long as you have it in your mind, it is possible if you can imagine it. And well, given the time of where she was living and when, that was the time of the flight. The air flight was fairly, around that time when a lot of people said it was impossible to do that, but some people imagined it, and it is possible. I mean, it's a hopeful sentiment. That's all I got. Like if you think it up, it's possible.
It's the only key to the future. With it, all things are possible. So that's a kind of a bold statement there. The only key to the future. So
yeah, you got to be careful of those words.
Whatever the future looks like, imagination is the key. You have to dream something into existence. It's a very powerful, optimistic, some would say maybe naive sentiment. But we'll think of Ida Tarbell. She dreamed of a day where people were treated more equally. I mean, this was the era of the robber barons, the captains of industry, Rockefeller and J.P. Morgan, who were creating a society of pretty dramatic inequality. So she imagined a world where reform was possible and where the playing field was leveled a little bit. So that was probably an inspiring sentiment behind her reforms. And imagination does, there's a lot of things that are possible if you imagine it. In fact, I don't know, as a teacher, just to go right there, I mean, I have to sometimes imagine my lessons unfolding in my head before I'm able to motivate myself to create them. I try to picture what it's like when it's successful. And that actually generates my passion and will to create it. Doesn't always work out, but it definitely makes things possible.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the way I think about it. I'm thinking of teach different, and we're coming up on our 8-year birthday, and yeah, there is some imagining. It's the way you want the world to be. I'll give you a quick thought here. For the first 3 or 4 years, we just did workshops, live workshops, and shared the method with teachers and with anyone who wanted to listen, really. And we got really good feedback. People loved it, but we sensed that it wasn't enough as far as would they really go home and use it. And a one and done workshop isn't enough to really, really teach this. And then we started imagining, well, what would a experience look like that would give someone enough practice, enough structure and routine to not only like learn what it is, because you can learn quote, claim, counterclaim, essential question in about 10 seconds, but to actually try it with people and stick to it when it doesn't work perfectly the first time. So did we have to imagine this certificate program that we've come up with? We did. That did not exist, say 2 years ago. But we wanted something that dealt with the things we knew we needed to take care of to get people to learn this and really use it. So there's my example, teach
Yeah,
different.
sure. That makes a lot of sense just in the development of the conversation method and how we're sharing it with people. Just to more relatable examples, sports maybe, a coach helps players imagine success and then it's possible to do that. Or you're talking to a high school senior and they're getting into a college. Where do they want to imagine doing that? What's their imagination doing when they're considering the job or the profession that they want to get into? It's an important thing to the future. Now she's saying imagination is the only key to the future. With it, all things are possible. So I'm right. Are you ready for the counterclaim here?
Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, my first thought is luck sometimes is a key to your future.
Which is
You
kind of
might
like timing.
timing. Things might come together at a certain time where you didn't imagine it. You actually came upon it. And the circumstances around you created your opportunity, not your brain thinking about it beforehand.
I think a good way to say the counterclaim is some things you don't imagine, you discover. They're already in you, for instance, like some ability or skill, and you get put into a situation where you have to learn it or show it. And that's the future when you realize, boy, I was really good at that. Or maybe I wasn't good at it, but you discovered it and it informs the future. It's something that was already here, but you didn't realize it. That's a different thing than imagine. And I think that it's probably more common where people
Yeah,
are
maybe.
ignorant of themselves or the situation, and they need, education, they need learning, they need to discover something. That's the future too.
And taking what this is kind of maybe a spin-off of what you're saying is that when you have an opportunity that presents itself and you take advantage of it, that is your key to your future. Acting upon things that are put in your lap. If you meet somebody who suggests that you apply for a job, for instance, or say that you're really good at something and you have the opportunity to go after an opportunity of some sort, well then it's not really your imagination. You're just getting something put to you and you're like, you know what? I'm motivated and I'm going to try this, and that's when all things are possible. And it's kind of related to, I think, what you're saying. Uh,
Yeah, you take advantage of something that's put in your lap. In fact, I
yeah.
don't think there's many people that do imagine. Well, it depends on the situation. If you think about your career and you're an entrepreneur, of course you have to imagine because that's going to lead how you develop your company, right? But imagine can take a lot of different forms. So,
And and also, and I'm a little deeper here. Back to the claim, Ida Tarbell is definitely suggesting with this that a person's ability to make free choices and decide for themselves what they want is the key to their future. That they have a lot of control over what gets, you know, what happens in the world. A counterclaim to that, to go with that idea of the claim, is that a lot of circumstances are out of your control, and
most,
therefore at most, and so therefore it's not about your imagination, it's about your awareness of what is happening around you, which is kind of what you were saying earlier.
yeah, discover awareness. Your eyes are clouded. It's being clear eyed about something, whereas before you weren't. That's the counterclaim. Now I'm thinking about a question.
Yeah. What role does the imagination play in our success?
I mean, that's general. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, do we have to imagine things in the future to be successful? Or what role does imagination play in your own success?
How can I use imagination for to build my own success? What's I mean, some of these, what's more important to my success, imagination or discovery, and why? There's a lot of things that can flow from this. Yeah, this would be a young child could deal with this one. Imagine a young child is imagining things all the time. You could get a really good discussion just about what people imagine and what's possible and what's not possible.
This is almost a psychological
Yeah,
self help type guide because when your life isn't going the way you want, it really is sad when you stop imagining what it could be and you start giving up in a way.
yeah.
But you
And that's
also can miss, see, you also can miss what you have if you start imagining too much. Grass is always greener, and you don't really appreciate what you have.
got another question. How much of my own success do I control through my imagination?
Yeah.
That really gets to, and you whatever you just said, which I can't repeat, made me think of that question. It would really tap into what the extent to which people believe that they control their own destiny, which is always an interesting conversation. I think you learn so much about people when they start pontificating on what they can control, what they can't control, because you really get a sense for what's going on in their life, and what kind of confidence they have. Okay, this is really good. It is kind of like a self-help quote in many ways. Imagination is the only key to the future. With it, all things are possible. Ida Tarbell, muckraker from the early 20th century. Fantastic quote. All
All
right. Well,
right.
thanks everybody, and we'll see you in the next episode with a new quote and some brand new ideas. Take care.